in between the lines, this is the feeling. This is which some people might call the soul. This is the love. Somebody mentioned that in the. What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Office Hour Tangents, where I typically come straight from class and talk about the tangents that I may have went off in class. Today's a little different. I'm actually coming from a conference of some sort. This is the weekend. It's Saturday. But I attended a conference, and I had a lot to say, and I wanted to just talk about it. And the conference was close to my work, so I came in here, and you can check out the new digs, because my usual podcast room is not my podcast room, but it's in use right now, and I just came in on a whim. And this is the first time using this podcast room. This is our new podcast room, but I just took this time to check out the new digs. So it's one of those things. I was driving home and I was just kind of talking to myself about what I just learned, what I just saw. And I was like, man, why don't I just go into the podcast booth and start talking about it? That's what Office Hour Tangents is about, even if it's office hours or not, right? So these are my weekend office hours. Like, subscribe, comment, share. I need to start doing that more. I haven't been treating this podcast like it's a business yet. I probably need to start doing that, but the first thing is to like, subscribe, comment, share. Go in the comments. Let me know if there's any topics that you would love for me to talk about. Like I said, I do this more so as when I birthed it, it's more so like a therapeutic thing for me. It's also, just, to spread what's going on in these intellectual spaces, and maybe talk about subjects from different perspectives. But okay, this is the reason why I'm in here. I'm going to try not to make this too long. I'm not going to talk about the conference I just came from, but I want to talk about some things that I gathered from the conference. And it's they were talking about AI. One of the panels, they were talking about AI. All around AI, specifically how AI is going to kind of affect us in the future, affect large businesses, because there are a lot of CEO, CFO, CTO type levels in this room. And, it got me to thinking that one person asked a question from the audience. They asked, what do you think is going to be redeemable from a human perspective when it comes to AI? Like, what can we do as humans that AI will never be able to do, or at least can't do now? And it was like a silence went over the room, And the silence came from people thinking, because as soon as you want to say something like AI won't be able to do this, and then you kind of think about it like there may be a chance that AI is going to be able to do that, kind of whatever you're thinking. But one thing that came to mind that nobody mentioned in the room was hospitality, right? So everybody was in the room and they were being taken care of. There was lunch, there was brunch, there was coffee, there was people getting them stuff. There was people directing them around the resort. It was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of that hospitality, those elements in hospitality aren't going away, right? AI can't duplicate that. Now, maybe you have a bunch of kiosks set up throughout the hallways that have wayfinding systems, and they can sense presence, and they can direct us maybe in the future. Maybe they have robots that's going to lead us the way. But the feel, and I've talked about this before on my podcast. Check out the Amazing versus Dope podcast, where I'll talk about, I did that podcast a year ago, but I was talking about what, AI being amazing, but not dope, right? So I'm not going to get too much. Check out that podcast. I think it's still relevant today. But one of them is hospitality, but it got to, and I'm checking out my notes because I took a lot of notes, but I got to the feel, the AI, what you can't feel. I've spoken about this in my podcast also, but it's can AI duplicate feel, right? Can AI duplicate presence? Can AI duplicate looking at somebody and sensing fear? Sensing happiness, sensing, I'm thinking, they have eye tracking software. They probably can, it's all based on data, but they can okay, This may look like I'm angry. This may look like I'm happy, things like that. But, we all have some people call it a sixth sense, whatever. We all have that feeling like, oh, it's time to go. Or I feel like I just need to go hug this person, right? Can AI do that? And it's almost like you don't want to say no to anything so far. And then somebody else asked me when I kind of said that to them at a table, they were like, if we really think about it, we could probably get AI that can feel. But I'm like, well, first there's going to have to be a data point for feel. So I'm not going to get too tech in it, but how do you make feelings data? Because that's what AI gathers to do what it does. Is data. It has a lot of data. It's been accumulating data. Not it, but we have been accumulating data since we could accumulate data for probably at least about 50 years now. But can feelings be data? And the jury is out. Maybe it can. But I wanted to talk about, and there's a graphic that I drew on here, and if I can pull it off, I want to post this quick. I don't want to do too many graphics because that's what holds up the time it takes when I kind of shoot these, and then when I put them up is me kind of editing and doing all the graphics and edits. But I want to do a quick graphic that has lines, and I'm gonna put it over here, right? And if I do this right, it's gonna be here and it's gonna be rocking. But I keep on saying that what I teach, what creatives do. So again, just if you don't know, I am a professor. I teach creativity, right? To go deeper, I'm really entrenched in UI UX design right now and teaching that, design thinking, kind of trying to guide these students, not necessarily teach them, but guide them through different ways to think about things and show them different perspectives on how they can look at a problem and try to address that problem from different perspectives and recognizing perspectives, right? So the feeling is something that creatives specialize in without even thinking about it, without even like knowing it. It's like the feeling like, hey, I can rock out a logo, a brand mark right now, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to work. And what it boils down to is the feeling. Is that if you're looking at two establishments and you're going to make a judgment call on which one you're going to go in based on the logo, it's how one of those logos makes you feel, right? And there may be data to think, okay, this kind of logo warrants 60% of the blah, blah, and this logo only warrants 40, so you go with the 60, right? But when you're dealing with two people, how you decide amongst two people, when you're dealing with people, electricians, plumbers, somebody to be your CEO, your CFO, your engineer, your drafter, your janitor, your secretary, whatever. We've all been in, you think of a job interview and the person sits across from you and you might get a certain feeling. You might have saw two or three people that were more qualified, but you got a different kind of feeling from this person, right? And how does that come about? And I think that can be translated into products, whether it's an app, whether it's a product, like a traditional product, like a chair, like a water bottle, right? Like a hat, like some gear. It's like certain things make you feel, whether it's tangible feel or whether it's just like it's this inherent sixth sense feel. And I feel like as creatives, if we can concentrate more on this feel of things, like almost like, I don't even know what it's going to be because it's so new, but it's almost like I want to transition more into I create feel, right? And what's that look like? And I think of it because I think in images, right? I think everybody thinks in images, but I think in images. Like I kind of, if you ever see me like looking up or something like that, I'm like looking at something. It's like I see it and I see. Lately, I've been saying I'm teaching students or I'm teaching myself how to kind of read between the lines, right? So if AI and technology are going to be really great at what's on the lines, right? And what I'm kind of just seeing is what's on the lines is everything we see, right? It's tangible objects. It's the atmosphere. It's people. It's molecules. It's whatever we can kind of see or see with telescopes or microscopes, those are the lines. The data, in my opinion, are the lines. It's almost like those matrix kind of hieroglyphs kind of fading down the screen or raining down the screen in the beginning of the matrix. I see that as the lines, right? I guess. But I see if there's lines, then there's between the lines. There's the spaces in between, right? I feel like a lot of those lines, all those lines are separate entities. Like you have this line, you have this line, you have this line. They're all stacked up against each other if you want to visualize it. But they could be as close as possible to each other, but, just remembering from my old science classes, they could be close, but they're never really connected. There's still space in between them, right? And I'm like, that space in between those lines is where I think the next level of us is going to come from. I think the AI and technology they're going to control the lines. They're going to control the lines, the actual things, the actual skills, the actual stuff. We're going to be in there too, but AI is going to be able to duplicate that, make it better, make us better on those lines. It's going to help us manage those lines better. It's going to help us create those lines better. It's going to actually help us establish those lines and live on those lines, because the data is going to need us to be on those lines because the data's on the lines. But the stuff in between the lines, this is the feeling. This is which some people might call the soul. This is the love. Somebody mentioned that in the conference on the panel. It's like, can AI, I don't even like saying it. Can AI love? I don't even want to get into that. That's just like a deep conversation, but you could probably give it a semblance of love or what it defines as love, right? But it's never going to be what we love. It's never going to be like our soul, right? I don't think you just can create a soul. I think, this is just my opinion, I think, all the souls are here already. And maybe they transfer between each other as people live and die. I don't know. In my heart, I just think that all the souls are here already. They've been here, and they are here. And it's not like we can create souls. And from that soul comes feeling, and from that feeling comes love. I'm not, that sounds kind of preachy. I'm not preaching over here. I'm just thinking of that question that they asked, what can be inherently human in this new age of AI? And it just made me think of these lines that I keep on seeing. What's in between the lines? That's what AI can't touch. So if us as people can just recognize that there is stuff between the lines. And the lines might get closer and closer and closer, but there's always going to be space between these lines. And if we put more importance on the space between the lines, the feeling, the love, the soul, then maybe, we have a chance to create something doper going forward. So a lot of people had this doom and gloom outlook on AI. It's going to be the death of us. It's going to be crazy. It's just, that's good TV, right? I'm holding out hope that it's going to make us doper. You know what I'm saying? If you know me, I'm all about being dope. I'm hoping, and I'm almost, if I was in Vegas and I just wanted to gamble, meaning I'm gonna put all my money on black type of thing. Like, it's not a smart thing to do, but I feel it. I feel that black's going to hit, right? It's that feeling. You can ask AI which is going to hit, what's the probability of blah, 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 you see blah, 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 Rain Man type stuff. Nah, like, sometimes you just feel it. Like, that's a feeling. People go to Vegas for the feeling. People get addicted to stuff like that because of the feeling, right? DraftKings, they need people to feel. If people don't feel, DraftKings is out of business because they're just going to ask AI to tell them what to do. And it's just not going to be fun anymore. Even if people are, doing their thing, it's not going to be fun because it's not exciting. It's not like, woo, I won. It's like, I knew I was going to win. It's not going to be like, damn, I lost, because you're not, more times out of 10, you're going to win. And then it's not going to feel like you know more about the universe. People that win at stuff like that a lot, right? People that's play the stock market and they do well and they establish hedge funds for it. And, they're valued because they're feeling. It's like they feel it different. I was just speaking to a guy at my table, and he does that kind of stuff. And he's just like, he made a comment like, I don't know. I saw this thing happening, and I'm just shocked that nobody else saw it coming. So I made a lot of money. Then I'm like, well, that's your superpower. That's your superpower. Like, your superpower, and I apologize. Like I said, I'm on my new digs. If the audio, this thing keeps on, I need to tighten it up. Your superpower may be the feeling, like you can feel things better, different. Like nobody else noticed. You noticed. That's special. And a lot of the stuff that's special about humans, we cannot explain. I think that's our fallacy sometimes, is we try to explain everything. And if we can't explain it, we make stuff up. And we got to put a label on everything. So AI can do this, this, and that. Humans can do this, this, and that. And AI can do this, this, and that. Is feeling, is love, is the soul a part of that, this, and that? Is sadness, is happiness, right? Is AI making us feel good? And that's hypothetical. Like some people, yes, some people no. Right? But these lines, I'm just picturing these lines. Like I said, I'm gonna try to duplicate it, but I just picture think of like I said, I'm a graphic dude. I'm gonna try to put it together quick. But if I can't, hopefully you can visualize it. But it's like what's in between these lines. Like I made this graphic, like the lines are the data, the in between the lines are the feel. And I'm just in my mind, like thinking about just going more towards that feel. How do we create that feel? Now I'm a creative dude. I like doing graphics. Like how can we make things? How can we create things that spark the souls, right? And then we need to just hang there. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. And, just, blah, 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 I might edit this out, but, taking these notes, but they were real messy because I was taking them fast. Damn, I don't even know what that says. That's crazy.